Hello! My name is Pei and today I'm gonna show you how to fight Vorkath in both shitter and non-shitter gear. You're going to see the time difference between the two sets and honestly it's quite surprising. If you're an FTP player, you probably know about Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer 1 is one of the most iconic quests in the entirety of RuneScape. You have to kill a dragon named Elvarg and upon completion, you unlock the best melee armor in F2P worlds, a rune plate body. The sequel to the quest is called Dragon Slayer 2 and it's a members only quest in which you need to fight multiple dragons, one of which is Vorkath,
a pathetic weakling.
Upon completion, you unlock the ability to create Ava's Assembler, which was the best range cape slot up until a year ago when Colosseum released. It still slaps and you should definitely get it. Once you finish the quest, you get the ability to fight Vorkath as a boss. Vorkath is your ticket to early/mid-level bossing and quite the money machine. He has some interesting drops, but the entirety of his money making comes from the superior dragon bones, and he always drops 2 of these. Depending on the gear and stats you have, hourly Vorkath trips can net you up to almost 4 million GP. Given how easy and accessible this fight is, those are some pretty good numbers. Vorkath is an undead dragon located in Releka, and the fastest way to reach him is by using the Fremennik Sea Boots 4, which are a reward for completion of the Fremennik Elite Diary, which, let's be honest, some of us are too lazy to grind.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
The second fastest way to reach him is by relocating your POH to Releka, which is what I use in this video. You can fight Vorkath with ranged and melee, but range gear is definitely more accessible because one of the best methods to kill him is by using Elite Void, which costs 0 GP, just a few hours of pest control minigame. As always, a good indicator on which gear to use for each boss is to check the RuneScape wiki. It basically shows you the recommended equipment from most to least effective. I killed Vorkath in both shitter and non-shitter gear and the difference is quite something, but let's go over the mechanics first and see why this is one of the chillest and most steady moneymakers in early game RuneScape. Vorkath has 3 standard attacks: a melee attack which does up to 32 damage, but since we're ranging we are never gonna get hit with that; a magic attack which does up to 30 damage and is used more frequently in melee distance; a ranged attack which does up to 32 damage and is used more frequently in range distance. Since range hits are more likely than mage when at a distance, praying ranged at Vorkath is generally better, and that's what we're gonna do for the entirety of this fight. He also has a few Dragonfire attacks. A standard Dragonfire which is partially or completely negated depending on how many layers of protection you use. Bring a super Anti-Fire and a Dragonfire shield, or an extended Anti-Fire and a Dragonfire shield. You're good either way. A venomous Dragonfire which can inflict venom if not immune. We bring an anti-venom for this. A corrupting Dragonfire which disables all prayers on impact. Just enable your prayers again. And a deadly Dragonfire, which is basically a bomb that does damage in 2 tiles around it. Just run 2 tiles away. All of these are very easy. Just stand in one place, pray ranged at all times, and pray to God that he hits you with ranged attacks more often than he does with mage. You don't have to worry about the red or green Dragonfire since you're protected from those, and just remember to turn on your prayers once he hits you with the pink one. And obviously, don't stand next to bombs. Bombs are bad. After 6 of these attacks, Vorkath is going to perform one of his 2 specials. A white Dragonfire attack, which will freeze you in place, and a weird looking creature will spawn, which you need to kill before it reaches your character. Or a barrage of acid pools and bombs, which you'll need to avoid by walking back and forth in a straight line or just running around the arena like a maniac. He's going to do either or, and he's never going to do 2 same specials in a row. So if you see a white Dragonfire attack, you're gonna get frozen in place, and all you need to do is cast Crumble Undead on the creature once it spawns. You're always going to hit that as long as your magic attack bonus is above -64, so keep that in mind. When you see a bunch of acid falling from the sky, that's your cue to start running because Vorkath is going to barrage you with fiery bombs and you can't stop running. Vorkath will spray the arena with acid, which if stepped on is going to venom you, deal a small amount of damage and heal the boss. In addition to that, he's going to send a barrage of fiery bombs which fall directly on your character's tile and deal a shit ton of damage. There are 2 ways to avoid them, and both include you having the control walk turned on in the settings. You can turn this on by navigating to all settings and typing walk in the search bar. Next, you'll want to have this option set to always. Now, the next time you hold control button on your keyboard and move your character, he's going to walk instead of run. This is a really helpful keybind which does wonders for all kinds of different RuneScape content. You can also just click the run button on and off, but I believe control run is much easier. It's up to you to decide. So as soon as Vorkath starts spraying acid all over the arena, we want to start walking in a way that we avoid acid pools on from the ground. As long as we're walking, we're never going to get hit with fiery bombs. Just continue walking until the barrage is over. The second way is by choosing a straight line and just walking back and forth for the duration of the fiery barrage. More experienced players could utilize the Vook's walk mechanic to continue attacking Vorkath while he's doing his acid tantrum, but we're not getting into that in this video. I've used two sets of gear to showcase this encounter. The Shitter, which consists of a rune crossbow and a black d'hide, and non-Shitter, which is an elite void set with Dragon Hunter crossbow. Both of these sets have Solve Amulet EI, which is irreplaceable because it grants plus 20% increase in damage and accuracy when fighting undead monsters. Of course, since we're using crossbows, we switch between ruby and diamond bolts. We use ruby bolts for 100 damage procs up until Vorkath has somewhere around 200 to 250 HP, and then we switch to diamond. So I did 10 Vorkath kills with each set, and these are the results. The least effective gear averaged to around 3 minutes and 13 seconds, while the most effective gear averaged to around 2 minutes, which means that the non-shitter gear gave roughly around 38% better results. This is a big deal. For example, if we're talking about DPS, the RuneScape community usually goes insane over a 1% marginal increase, so this right here is basically the golden goose of effectiveness. Just to emphasize, we're talking about a gear set that costs around 100 mil. Usually increase comes from upgrades and max gear, which usually cost not millions but billions of GP. Elite Void grants a set effect which grants a percentage bonus to your range damage and accuracy, and you can get Elite Void for free by doing the pest control minigame. The only other mandatory items for this encounter are the Dragon Hunter crossbow, which is around 40 mil, and Solve Amulet EI, which you get from a quest, and both of them increase your damage and accuracy when fighting Vorkath. This is a no-brainer, really, and if you wanna go even more budgety, you can just remove the Venator ring because it costs almost 50 mil for a 1 max hit increase. The set goes really hard. You will hit 50s, 60s and even 70s with the occasional 100 procs from the ruby bolts. It's just so much fun when you can deal lots of damage, and we all yearn for that big damage visual on our screen. I tried to replicate the hourly profit from the Vorkath wiki page, and I have to say it's kind of accurate. My highest point was almost 3.5 mil on the profit tracker by using the Elite Void, which is exactly what the wiki implies as well. Obviously healing and stashing the loot reduces the hourly rate, but all in all you're looking at a solid 3 mil GP per hour, which is really decent and should be able to kickstart you into other RuneScape adventures. Like always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.